Hello everyone, thanks for joining me back on StubbleMeetsSteel. Well, one of my friends had purchased one of my Guido razors, and that was actually how we became friends. And he had picked up a really cool razor that I've been eyeing for quite a while, and for whatever reason it's just been unobtainium. And that is the Goodfellas Legione. This is a slant razor, very similar to the Parker Semi Slant. And there's some rumors that maybe they had worked together. I remember seeing something along those lines, and I was just examining it, and I'll put some pictures up here for you. But the base plates had a number 1 on them, and boy, I was just looking at the base plates side by side, and I really can't tell them apart at all. They look identical. To me, the differences are, that's a pretty good shot there, is the head shape. On the Legione, on the right-hand side here, it's got a very much more rounded radiused cap, whereas the Parker Semi Slant here has almost like facets right there, or flat spots on both sides. So the top caps are definitely different. Handle-wise, I got to look it up. I meant to look it up before if I forgot. I don't know what the metals are being used in the Goodfellas. Price-wise, they're right around the same. Last I had checked, they're right around $30, $33, depending on where you get them. Weight-wise, the Goodfellas is about 100 grams, and the Parker Semi Slant is not far behind, about 91 grams. 4-inch handle on the Parker, and 3.5. The weight and balance and the feel of the handle on this Goodfellas is fantastic. I really like the handle on this. Very, very grippy, not overly sharp, but just right. Excellent handle. I really like what they did. I like the knob that they put on there, the radio style knob. The Parker's got good grip to it too, but just in comparison, the Goodfellas is a little bit better, and I like the balance better of the Goodfellas. The weight, the balance point is kind of like right there, whereas the balance point on the Parker seems like it's a little bit further back, almost more like in the middle of the handle. And I'm not a huge lover of long handles. Sometimes I like it, but overall I'd like the 3.5. It's just perfect. I forgot to get my brush wet, but this is another one that my dad and I had just made up. It's got my logo in there. Probably was turned around, but this particular one didn't meet my stringent QC, so I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this one. My dad set the loft a little bit too high on it, so I'm just going to keep that one for myself. For today's soap, I've got a new one for me. A buddy had sent me a sample of this Ariana & Evans Plum and Bliss. Sorry. The Plum and Bliss is Asian plum. It's got cannabis, this cannabis santal soap that he makes, and then it also has sandalwood, cedar, and patchouli. And all those notes really come together. I do pick up on the cannabis, which is, I like that particular scent. But then you have the sweetness of the plum, and you have the sophisticated notes of the sandalwood, the cedar, and the patchouli coming through on the end. And it makes for like a real deep, really nice finish. I was worried maybe the soap went bad on me. It's so hot here. It's 115 degrees here today, and when the soap came yesterday, it was literally liquefied soap, or it was just like oil in the container. So I left it out on the counter in air conditioning overnight. I was reluctant to put it in the fridge. I shook it up a little bit so everything would mix together, and then I just left it to sit on the counter, and it did re-solidify, and it looks fine consistency wise. So I'll see how it holds up. So far so good. This is one of their creams, so it is very soft. As I've shown in some of my other videos, sometimes I just rub it right on the face and just do a face lather right from that. Grab my spray bottle. I've been curious about this particular Goodfellas razor for a long time. Like I said, I've looked for it countless times, and it's cheap, but it's always out of stock. And I'll see if I can get a hold of my buddy Tony that loaned it to me. He had given me a link where you can buy from Goodfellas direct, and that was how he got it. So I'll put that link up here because he's here in the United States, so I know he was able to get it. Very nice lather. Cashmere knot whips up a really nice quick lather, especially with these creams. I find the cashmere soft knot works very well. For today's blades, I've got Gillette Silver Blues loaded up. I found that the Goodfellas Legione was a little bit aggressive with certain blades. I want to say I tried the Bic Aster and a couple other blades, and I like the Gillette Silver Blue the best, so that was why I chose that for today. Although I haven't used it in the Parker Semi Slant, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Start off on the right side of my face with the Goodfellas. Used a very mild razor yesterday, so I thought it'd be a good time to finally do this review. Right there, my hands are super wet. Excellent grip on the handle. Soap smells really good. I tried the Cannabis Santal soap of theirs, and I didn't really like it as much. I think this is a better scent for me personally anyways. Geez, if you were to blindfold me, I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference between these two. Other than the handle. Maybe, just maybe, the Parker felt like maybe it had a little bit more blade feel on a few strokes there. Let's try against the grain and see how they compare. Let's go back to the Goodfellas side. Said it before, I'll say it again, I really like the handle on that Goodfellas. Felt like it bit me a little there on my little part of my neck, Parker. it didn't draw any blood. Let's get a little more soap here. This 24 millimeter nut is doing pretty well. I usually use 26, 28, or 30 millimeters. I don't have too many smaller brushes. When I was asking about making the brushes, what size everybody likes, some people did seem to like the smaller 22, 24. So I picked up some smaller knots. Goodfellas is exceptionally smooth today. Let's see how the Parker feels on this across the grain. Very, very nice pass with the Parker also. Again, it's not a huge difference, but it still feels to me like the Goodfellas just has a tiniest bit less blade feel, just a little bit more comfort and smoothness over the Parker. They don't disclose any blade or exposure or gap or exposure specs, either manufacturer. So a little bit of a guessing game there, but they still feel very, very similar. Fantastic shave with the Goodfellas, it really was. Super smooth, very, very nice. Very nice. Let me go ahead and just spray and rinse up here. Compare the two shaves, see how we did. Almost identical, very tiny bit of cleanup for both right there. All right, let me go ahead and get rinsed up and I'll go over some final thoughts of these two great razors. Thanks for hanging around. I put on some witch hazel, and while that dries up, I'm gonna wait for a little bit, and then I've got the splash to match the soap here. Well, what do I think about these two fun slant razors? Well, of all the Parkers that I have had, the Parker Semi Slant and the Parker Variant Closed Comb are the two that I've kept. And, you know, I don't give this enough love, but when I do want a slant, it's definitely one of my top contenders and definitely one of my favorite Parkers. And this Goodfellas was really, really close. You know, I'd have to give a slight edge overall to the Goodfellas. I definitely like the handle better. For me, as I mentioned, you know, I don't have a need for the 4-inch handle, and the balance and the grip and the knob on the bottom, fantastic handle. You definitely top shelf handle, far above the price point. And like I said, I'll see what metals these things are made out of, but there just seemed like there was just a little bit more smoothness and less want to bite me. It kind of, the Parker irritated my neck just a tiny bit here, and on the Adam's Apple it was a little bit tricky, and they both have the same blades in them. So there's just a little bit more smoothness and finesse for me out of the Goodfellas. You know, but overall for slants, for $30, you really can't go wrong with either one of these. Like I said, I've enjoyed this Parker for quite a long time. It's one of the few razors that I can get a good, you know, 2+ pass BBS shave if I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I just won't go with the grain, and it has enough efficiency where I can get it done. You know, overall, it just depends on what you like the look of, and if you like a longer handle or a shorter handle. Grip-wise, like I said, the Parker still does have a good grippy handle, but not quite as good as the Goodfellas. So there's my take on it. If I had to choose, I definitely like this Goodfellas a little bit better. This is a real top contender for a you know, daily driver, maybe every other day style razor. These are definitely what I would consider in the medium category of aggressiveness, but on the lower to middle end. It just totally depends on what blades you use. I will say that when I tried this out the first time, like I said, as I was playing around with blades, I did find it a little bit aggressive, as I do the Parker. This Gillette Silver Blue, I keep getting soap on my fingers on the counter here. But the Gillette Silver Blue pairing is excellent pairing in both of them. They are the Russian Gillette Silver Blues, if you're curious. So there's my take on it. Another great slant razor in the mix. You know, I'd have to say, what would I compare it to? Maybe the Yaqi Diagonal, or something along those lines as far as aggressiveness, to give somebody some sort of scale. Maybe a little bit more blade feel than the Slant 37 or like the McCord 37 slant, something like that, to kind of give you a rough idea where these fall. So there you go. I hope I enjoyed today's video, and I'm still going to be having some brushes come out, so keep your eyes out for those. I'll have solid wood ones like this, as well as multi-layered ones in various different knot assortment sizes. Check out my info section down below. I'll have coupon codes, and I have both new and vintage razors for sale, so check that out if anything interests you. And most importantly, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.